It wasn't very prestigious at the time. I mean, I was making magnificent sum of $50 a week.
Gertrude Elion. How the death of a lover made a woman a great scientist. She was the only girl in her college course. She was kept out of the workforce because she was good looking. She was the one who created the most important drugs at the time when women were not recognized in science and received the most prestigious Nobel Prize. And it all began in a family of Jewish immigrants from Lithuania in New York City in 1918. Gertrude Bell Elion was born to Robert Elion and his wife Bertha Cohen. Robert's parents brought him to the United States from Lithuania when he was 12 years old. Bertha was also an immigrant, a Jewish woman of Polish descent. The girl's father, a dentist from Manhattan, infected his daughter with the attraction to knowledge. But the girl never thought of science as her profession. But one day Gertrude's grandfather dies because of cancer, and Gertrude decides to create a cure. The girl gets her basic education in the most ordinary school, and with high grades and excellent recommendations, she enters with a scholarship to Hunter College of New York to study chemistry. Until the middle of the last century, it was a women's college. Elion graduated with honors in 1937 with a bachelor's degree in chemistry and planned to continue her studies in graduate school, but her financial situation sent the girl to work. Chemists didn't have much choice for jobs, and those that were available at the time were not for women. Once she managed to be interviewed for a position as a biochemist, but was rejected because of her appearance. It was thought that the pretty girl would be a hindrance to scientists in their mental work. A job was found teaching biochemistry to nurses only for a semester. Later, for the sake of science, she worked for some scientists who didn't pay at first. Trudy lived with her parents, and this allowed her to work while gaining knowledge without being paid. And when her fees started, she saved up to pay for postgraduate studies. Do not be afraid of hard work. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. Do not let others dissuade you or tell you that you can't do it. At some point, I was told that women didn't do chemistry. I saw no reason why we couldn't. World War II did a lot for women in terms of opportunities and rights, a lot. Elion had worked everywhere, as a laboratory chemist in the food industry, synthesizing organic compounds at Johnson & Johnson, teaching chemistry, but it's all wrong. It's all boring. She dreamed of creating drugs and saving lives, and so 1944 becomes a step. 40 years long, huge toward realizing her dream. She is hired by the borough's Wellcome Pharmaceutical Company, now GlaxoSmithKline. She began her career as a simple assistant biochemist. Her talent was noticed and appreciated by her immediate supervisor, Dr. George H. Hitchens. Elion and Hitchens didn't proceed by the usual method of trial and error. They studied what the biochemical difference was between healthy cells and pathogens to properly develop drug blockers. They worked together created drugs against leukemia, gout, herpes, malaria, and AIDS. Elion and her supervisor Hitchens' most important discovery was acyclovir. Her scientific work resulted in 45 medical patents and 23 honorary awards and titles. In 1988, Gertrude Elion, together with James Black and her permanent leader George Hitchens, received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for the discovery of important principles of drug therapy. It is important to do the kind of work you'd like to do, that it doesn't feel like work. Sometimes you feel it's too good to be true, that someone will pay you to enjoy it. I have been very fortunate that my work has led to useful cures for various serious diseases. The thrill of seeing people recovered who might otherwise have died of diseases such as leukemia, kidney failure, herpes, viral encephalitis is impossible to describe in words. Gertrude was not married. There was love in her life. She was loved and loved. But in one of her interviews, the woman confessed that back in her college days, she fell in love with a young man who died a couple of years later from a viral disease. And that incident further convinced Elion to pursue science. It was for the sake of preserving other people's love that Gertrude put her personal life on the line. Saving life became her primary goal. Science was not all the well to the learned lady. She loved photography and travel, frequented the opera, ballet, and theaters, and she was a great loving aunt to her nephews. Elion died at age 81 in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.